The following program contains subject matter and language that might be disturbing to some moving to the cloud decision makers that have bought into the marketing hype that cloud will solve all your business needs. Viewer discretion advised. And now, from the ThinClient Studios, it's the Jody and Steve Show.
Hi, my name is Jody Elkins. I'm the president of the Americas region for Insentra, and I'm here with Steve Greenberg today. Who is the president and founder of ThinClient Computing in Phoenix, Arizona. So, you and I have been chatting. We've known each other for a long time. We've had multiple conversations over the years, and I think that we both thought that those are pretty brilliant at times.
I think we'll find out now with the camera
exactly.
rolling. Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to actually put this on camera and share some of these thoughts, because I think that you and I both have some, in our companies and the industry in general, but certainly our companies, have some interesting perspectives on where the industry is and where customers can get value, why customers maybe can't get value sometimes.
Right.
And I think that's, I'm pretty excited to put that down on a recording.
I am too. This is our 20th year in business as ThinClient Computing. And I started the company because I was so excited about Citrix and virtualization and what I accomplished as an IT director with this new little technology called Citrix and later VMware and all these other type technologies. And it just keeps getting faster and faster and better. And now the pace is unbelievable. And I'm the old senior guy with the gray beard, I really want to, hand off some of that information and pass on some of those lessons and apply them to what we're facing now with large-scale cloud computing.
So tell me a little bit about why you got into this business to begin with.
Well, basically, if you're a hopeless geek, you have to find an excuse to do these technical things all day long and constantly challenge yourself. But really, it's the excitement of technology and watching it transform a business. So I got in very early with Citrix. It was a brand new company, and I worked at SunSource International. And we were looking for a solution to bring applications across big distances and across platforms. And we found this tiny little company called Citrix. And it just did some great stuff for the organization, and it fed that geek side of me where you could really go techie and also make really big changes for an organization. So I left my job and started a reseller consulting firm, and it's 20 years later. And it's just been a blast the whole time, riding with the ever-increasing faster wave of technology and being able to do bigger and better things, from 24/7 critical hospital environments to finance, utility, nuclear power plants. We do all kinds of things, and it never stops being fun. How about you, Jody? You got a bunch of roles. You've been C-level, IT management. You've run a partner provider consulting firm. And now you're with Insentra, which is a new twist on things.
Yeah, so 25 years in the industry. I spent the first 18 of those in the client side. I was a technology engineer way back in the day. Right. I'm not so technical anymore. But the last 10 years or so, I was in the executive management level of IT, so VP of IT and CIO. I had a lot of success there. I then moved on and went to the partner community, as you know, and I ran a fairly large partner in Southern California for 6 years. Took that business from 10 million to 45 million.
But you also talked about how, as the customer, you felt like you weren't always getting the best result or the full value. What was it like going into the partner side at that point?
Yeah, well, my whole proposition, the whole reason I decided to go to the other side, the dark side as I call it, is so that I could actually hopefully provide that value back to the businesses that I struggled to provide, and I saw that partners were struggling to provide. So I thought that there was a business model there. I thought there was an opportunity for improvement in that business model, and I wanted to try to accomplish that. Did that well, offered value to a lot of customers. Right. We had a lot of growth. We kept customers. We were delivering more value.
And one of the things we talked about is it works when you try to understand what the customer needs and what they want and what will help the business, rather than selling what you got in your bag. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the challenges in the partner community, right? The partner's trying to manage the vendor expectations that they have relationships with and quotas that they have to sell with what the client actually needs and the time that the client will actually give and the time that the partner can spend in the client. Right. So there's all these gaps that really don't lend themselves to adding value, and you've got to plug those gaps in order to do
And
it.
you were able to do that, have a big success. But
Yeah.
how did the Insentra thing come around? Because this is more of the cloud world, the new emerging international partnership type thing.
Yeah, there's two pieces to that, right? There's cloud and emerging technologies, but the more impactful piece for Insentra is actually what I was just describing, but focused on partners. So what I was trying to do with a single partner, and what you've been trying to do with a single partner in adding that value, Insentra is all about taking that same approach specifically and only through the partner community to enable more partners to deliver that value. So it was a natural fit for me. It was, quite frankly, I was lucky to meet the people I met, and here we are having a lot of success now globally.
Well, I agree. Our work with Insentra over the year plus that we've been together has really accomplished exactly that. You've taken a qualified, skilled, established partner and extended the reach and allow us to do more services, more 24/7 type offerings. It's been a great partnership.
Nah, great. We feel the same way. Thank you. So, Steve, let's talk a little bit about cloud. Is it really anything different than we've seen before?
Well, what comes to mind is the phrase, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
Because clearly cloud, especially public cloud computing, is a very different animal. But the deeper I get into it, I bring customers to cloud, apply our methodologies to cloud, I find it's very much the same while it is very much different. So I'm going to give you the consulting answer of it depends.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Over the years, there's all these just continual new emerging technologies, right? And between the two of us, we've probably seen at least half a dozen major trends or shifts in technology, emerging technologies, right? And VDI being a prime example of something
Exactly.
you and I both
Right.
have a lot of experience with. And it's always interesting to me that every new trend comes with an incredible amount of promise. And every new trend also comes with an incredible amount of complexity. And I don't know
And I'm
why.
sorry, but an incredible amount of total bull.
Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
so VDI was a great wave. In many ways, it was the same thing. It was nothing new and something very important. But we spent more time explaining what it really means to customers than not.
Yeah.
Because there was this vendor FUD. So cloud has tremendous promise, but it's sort of like VDI on steroids, where every big vendor is so invested in switching to a subscription model, they're blowing this message out.
Yeah.
And they're actually missing what's best about cloud in the effort to make it sound like it's so simple.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think that's, and really, it's still no different. That is a massive marketing plan, right?
Right.
Really, what cloud is the same things we've been doing, particularly since virtualization came into play.
Right.
But it's marketed in a way, and you said this to me the other day, is that it's just easy to buy. That's really what they've gone after. And I was thinking about this after we chatted, because I think that what's interesting to me is if you market a solution as directly to consumers as they are marketing cloud, and you market that heavily, you're sort of precluded from talking about any of the complexity that's involved in it. And I think that puts customers in a really difficult position, because for the first time, they now have C-levels that don't know anything about technology, watching a commercial about Azure Cloud or AWS or Google, whatever it is, and coming away from a 30-second spot feeling like they can make their business do anything just by going to the cloud.
You hit the nail on the head with this, because there's tremendous positive benefit with cloud, but it is being pushed as a marketing message. And what's being emphasized is the ease and how you get rid of old complexities. That's just not true.
Yep.
Now, cloud has tremendous promise. It's an excellent innovation in economy of scale and making things simple, potentially cost effective, but it's not inherently cheaper.
Right.
And it does not change any discipline that you need to be successful in IT.
Yep. Agreed. And what's really interesting is I think multiple points there. So first of all, if you look at the reasons customers are adopting cloud or want to adopt cloud, number one, security is nowhere in that list of top 15 reasons, and for good reason, right? So I think, and then two, the cost associated with cloud. Going to cloud initially for a lot of organizations multiple years ago was the desire to shift CapEx to OpEx. That made a whole lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
That has shifted over the last number of
It
years
is
as
interesting.
companies have really hoarded cash. So now it's still of value to some organizations, but more and more organizations say, no, I'd rather spend the cap. So that's shifted a little bit. What I would say to people is, if you have unlimited funds and you don't care about security, then you probably don't need to listen to any of this, and you probably don't need help with cloud. But if you care about those two things, you absolutely need a lot of help with cloud from very focused experts, because it's not what it seems. It's not that easy.
The true benefits of cloud are not really what they're marketing. They're kind of pushing the ease, the subscription, implications that it costs less, not really true.
Right.
But there are some amazing benefits
Absolutely.
with cloud, specifically when you're looking at geographic disbursement, trying to extend your reach to new geos, trying to get redundancy, perhaps acquiring companies, expanding markets, taking on employees in other places. There's huge benefits. It's really hard to do that the old way. But I would say at the same time, if you're like a small, medium business with a data center and it works fine, there's not a lot of benefit to pick it up and move it. So you've got to understand what the cloud's bringing and where it really shines.
Agreed. And I see a lot of customers, look, the number one reason customers, particularly in the SMB and mid-market space, are wanting to go to the cloud is rapid access to infrastructure. That's the number one based on Right Scales assessment earlier this year, right? Mm-hmm. Great access, great opportunity to actually get that access quickly. But what the perception seems to be that, well, I just log on to Azure or AWS or insert cloud platform here and I create my VM. You can absolutely do that. And you can absolutely deploy your application in a matter of minutes sometimes. Right. But what they don't tell you, unless you go and read the manual, which nobody does anymore.
Well, it's there, and it also changes every 10 minutes.
Changes every 10 minutes, that's right. What you'll end up with is a very insecure VM.
That's exactly the point. And that's one of the number one things. If you take all of your training and the instincts you've evolved as an IT guy. So one example would be, IT people often have to fight for budget. They have to justify that next year I'll need to be able to spend this. So all of your training and all of your history tells you, get the biggest servers I can, get the most storage I can, because I'm going to have to meet some need down the road. Cloud is 180% the opposite. If you go in and start creating VMs, they will by default be insecure. They will by default be expensive. You will inevitably make them bigger than you need to. You have to look at the cloud as what it is. It's a data center. You said it's attractive to smaller businesses because the access to infrastructure. Okay, if I gave you a blank building, what would be the first thing you need to do? Power. Then you would configure networks. Then you would configure servers. You have to approach the cloud that way, or you're just clicking next, 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 and opening up your business to the world.
Yeah, to that point, just Google. We see customers in this situation all the time, but you can absolutely Google. There's an unlimited number of horror stories where customers have absolutely fired up processing within any number of clouds because it was cheap and it was easy and it was fast. And fast forward down the road 60 days and they get a bill for $25,000 in a single month.
Right.
There are ways to do things that make a whole lot of sense purely from a cost perspective. And a great example is it changes so fast. The PaaS platform versus the IaaS platform is a massive one. And particularly with Azure, that is changing rapidly these days. And the difference there is if you can use PaaS, it's $35 a month. And if you don't use PaaS or can't use PaaS, that costs us $350 a month. So it's a very significant difference.
So to bring it back, is cloud something new? Is it really something different? It really is different, but it requires the certain kinds of disciplines that really haven't changed, the correct practices, but they're done differently up there. So we'll talk about that at more length as well.
Yeah, great. And ThinClient, I know, is focused in that area and can really help your customers get there in a more effective and cost-effective way.
So bring it back. Is cloud something brand new or the same old thing? It's really kind of both, and we have to look at the specialties and the details and how to do it right. So in the next segment, we'll do that. We'll jump into Microsoft Azure and learn more about the details of how it all works.